Hello, people. We are playing Fulham this weekend and hopefully winning this game. So, um, interesting game. I rewatched last year's Fulham home game, and it was a harder game than anticipated. But this year, with the lack of Mitrovic and the turmoil that Fulham are going through right now, it should hopefully be an easy game. I mean, what are your thoughts going into this game? Are you worried, George? Are you not so worried? How are we doing?
Definitely not worried. I think that anybody that's worried for Fulham is just doing, I don't know, pessimistic assumptions because at the end of the day, right now, I think that they are a team that is the same as last year, right? Like the one thing that we do know about Fulham, just very basically, is they've got brilliant wing backs. Essentially, I call them wing backs. They're full backs, but they really are wing backs. And Kenny Tete and Anthony Robinson, like that's where they're going to carry most of their thrust. And of course, now without Alexander Mitrovic, they don't have an outlet that can hold up the ball and get them up the pitch. Maybe Harry Wilson is probably their most dangerous winger. I would say at that point, and Paulina being back makes the midfield contest more of a contest than what it was. But even then, I wouldn't, think that they've got a particularly robust midfield. One thing that I think I worry about for Fulham is I don't think that they've got a midfield that can low block in the same way that some other teams can. And they also lack goal scoring potential. And I think with Callum Hudson-Odoi coming in, they've got somebody that could definitely carry a dual wing threat, but they don't really have somebody that, in my opinion, in Raul Jimenez, at least the Raul Jimenez of today, that can hold up. I think in 5 years ago, Raul Jimenez with Callum Hudson-Odoi and Harry Wilson would have been an interesting front three. But I just think right now, especially with the at least the latter one and Callum Hudson-Odoi not being probably fit for us in our game, which is excellent because he could cause some problems even after injury. I just think that Fulham lack probably the positional sense to really implement that kind of low block. But at the same token, they just don't have the goals in them. And so we know Bernd Leno in goal will be a good shot stopper for them. And he'll face the most shots in the league. I think he already has got those totals in the last two games, but I think that'll carry throughout the league. I'm worried about Fulham generally, guys. Like, I mean, we're gonna have to do our updated predictions once the transfer window closes. But there's been a lot of teams that have done moves since we've done that, and Fulham haven't done what I thought that they would do. Like I really thought that there would be another striker on the books, at least somebody that you could get on loan, at least somebody that could offer a more consistent hold up play. I'm thinking about even Ekitike, from your boy Chris. And I'm looking through. Look, they could even do with Eddie Nketiah. I could seriously envision a really strong position for him in that front three, with ball to feet wingers and Harry Wilson, Callum Hudson-Odoi, like that would be a thriving front three. Um, but I do worry for Fulham, particularly, of course, without Tim Ream in this game. I mean, he's suspended, right? So their center back partnership with Diop is kind of up in the air. So for me, I worry about Fulham in terms of maybe replicating the success of last year. I think that their XG, wasn't sustainable, in terms of their performance. And so yeah, not that I care particularly about Fulham. I just think it'll be a very easy day at the park. I'm nowhere to go to predictions, but I'm just going to call it right now. Like it seems a 3-0 all day, every day, and a very comfortable performance. And one I think that we might see a little bit return to fluidity just because Fulham, beyond their wing backs, they don't have very pressy forwards, so they're going to let us do a lot of the football and have time and space. And I think if you do that at the Emirates, it's a long day.
Chris, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think Fulham, apart from the first game where Mitrovic came on the pitch, even before he came on the pitch, they really struggled to move up the pitch. Everton really camped in Fulham's half and just wasted a lot of their chances. And then the second game, they just got 4-0 by Brentford. So they got what the scoreline Everton probably deserved. So conceding that many chances in the first two games, taking Leno, 9 saves? I think it was in the first game to save them. And he made a lot in the second game as well. I think just their build-up deteriorated without Tim Ream. They don't have Tosin as well. So they don't have the starting centre-back partnership from last season. Mitrovic is gone. Willian wants to go. I think they've got big issues. I think they're suffering from like the summer. I thought they'd do a lot better in the summer. I thought they'd
I thought they get a striker, proper striker. Like Jimenez is fine, but
I thought they'd even maintain
Is he?
Mitrovic.
I don't think he's fine. I think he's crocked, to be honest.
Well, he's poor,
We're
but I
gonna be
mean, it's
honest.
not. Well, no, he's poor, and like I said earlier in my point, like they need another striker. But I mean, he's okay. He's okay as a striker. He just won't get you consistent goals, and they need a bagsman because their wingers aren't that. Even Callum Hudson-Odoi, they're more playmaking wingers. So if you don't have a goal scoring winger complement there, you need your number 9 to offer an insane amount of goal. And Jimenez will just get you 10 Premier League goals and assists.
And
So
for
it's
five,
fine.
yeah, he was only 5 million anyway. So I think
Yeah.
that was their very cheap safety if Mitrovic went. And they've now got what, like 40, 50 million for Mitrovic. So they still have a week to spend that money. Hopefully for them they do. But whoever they do sign won't really impact this game. I just think even their fullbacks were one of the highest in fouls last season. So even though they do get tight, they're not great tacklers. I think our wingers will have a very good game against Fulham. Last time, what was it, away for was 3-0 first half, then we just chilled out in the second half. I expect a very similar game, but we're obviously not as fluid. But again, the transitions are not as dangerous as they were last season. So, yeah, I'm not really worried compared to the first games.
Beto would be a top signing for Fulham in general. Like that's exactly the kind of striker that they would need. Fundamentally, he's the Udinese striker who's big, tall body that can absolutely offer that kind of like Antonio like outlet. So look, if he was to come in, you can really change the idea of Fulham. I still think they need. I would agree with a commanding center back, and I probably want a better Paulinho partner. But look, as long as you've got somebody that can hold up better than what Jimenez can do, I think Beto will facilitate Harry Wilson, Callum Hudson-Odoi a lot better than Jimenez can. So in that sense, that's definitely a positive. But look, for our game,
I also think they make too many fouls. Like the whole team, Paulinho was top 5 in fouls. Robinson was top 5 for left backs. Tete top 5 for right backs. Like they make too many fouls, and they are a big team, so they defend set pieces better than most teams. But again, versus us, like them consistent fouls on the Saka, on a Martinelli, I think they happen on Saturday. But like after them fouls, after the yellow card, like what do they really do if they get yellow early? Because Ola Aina got a yellow early versus Saka, and he just started letting him come inside because you can't really like drag him down again, like, because obviously the risk of another yellow. So I think Fulham is just like try to keep the numbers down this game for them. Well, hopefully for me, and that's what I envisage for this game, like, for them to try to keep the numbers down, Leno to be forced to make many saves. I just think even with Nketiah, like if Nketiah starts, which I assume he probably will, this game suits him a lot more than the first two, I think, because they're not as good in a low block as the other two games, and they're not as big a threat in transition. So you don't really need to keep the ball anywhere near as much as we did the first two. I'm not sure if you agree, because do you think Nketiah starts again like he did the first two games, or do you think Havertz or Jesus or Trossard starts up top?
For us, I mean, I just think that I don't know what happened there. By the way, sorry. I genuinely think Nketiah might start again just because just consistency of the lineup and how things have happened. I wouldn't be surprised to see Havertz. I would be surprised to see Trossard. I would like to see Trossard, but I don't think that will happen. So for me, I just think it will be probably sticking with the lineup we had. Maybe Gabriel comes in.
Do you think he makes the bench, Jesus?
Yeah, I do.
Definitely, yeah.
I think
he gets
he's
the
been
bench,
training
yeah.
all week, and
So,
look,
who leaves?
What, from the starting 11 or from the bench?
The bench.
I think we're going to drop a defender. To be honest with you, I don't think we need it with Fulham at home. So I doubt that we would need that. The only thing that I could see maybe as a dropping could be one of the midfielders in terms of ESR and Vieira. Like you only take one of them. Namely, I hope ESR if that is a choice. But again, I think it'll be a defender that we drop. Like we really don't need too much in terms of in the reserves there.
Actually, we don't. I don't. Tommy got a red, so
well, he can't make the bench. That's what I mean. So
he replaced Tommy Austin in the squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be okay. No, I'm kind of with Kerr in general about you know the level of this game being pretty easy. I think, and with you, Chris, to be honest, like I think this is gonna be a walk in the park. I think it'll be our easiest game that we've seen so far. Yeah, they're a big team, but again, they don't know how to use it to their advantage, and
It's not they could don't know, they can't. They don't have the main focal point to use it, and that's the problem. I mean,
yeah,
they're a very compact and well drilled team in terms of their pressing structure, how they work off the ball. They have good dual masters in midfield in terms of Palinia can win a tackle. He's not very good on the ball or doing anything with it, but he'll win a tackle. But as you mentioned, they have good fullbacks and they can really get up and spread the pitch wide. But the question is, how do you use that with? Because they don't
well,
have anyone to push it in with too. And even the wingers aren't exactly brimming with confidence. I don't know about. We could see with they don't even have Solomon anymore. So it's interesting to see.
yeah. I mean, for the one issue I've got is I don't want the lineup to be the same. I mean, look, inevitably Tommy Yasu won't, so like there's a benefit at one
Yeah.
section in the back, but I definitely want to see a little bit more experimentation because Fulham is a game that you can experiment. I don't want to experiment with United. I want to go tried and trusted. And the one thing that I do want to investigate at least is we have to make this decision between Havertz and Nketiah. And I can't, and we know that Martinelli is going to start. And so there needs to be a decision making process there about what you prefer. And I think let's just assume Jesus is on the bench because if he doesn't, it's very easily that he starts, right? And so that is a given. But the idea is say that he wasn't to start, you need to make a choice between which person you want to have those channel runs. Do you want Havertz? Do you want Eddie Nketiah making those runs? Both have different focal points. I think Fulham will be more of a low block team or attempt, at least, than other games. They will push Kenny Tete up, and they will push Anthony Robinson to try to give them some width, right? But in general, they just don't have the capacity to really put their foot on the ball and create sustained possession. So I do expect a low block for a majority of the match, and in that case, I don't see that the space for Eddie to run into, or at least his profile, is something that we necessarily need. So I do want to experiment with a Trossard. I want to see what a Trossard complement does on the left in terms of opening things for Gabriel Martinelli, because we know the quality that Jesus has. But again, we need to figure out ways that this team can evolve in case there's an injury to Jesus. And I don't want to see the same static left-hand side. Um, that we saw the last couple of games. We need to find a solution, and part of refining a plan would be refining your balance, and that's the big thing for me. So if we are to see those two things, I want the Trossard. I feel as though that a simple Trossard sub to allow the kind of interchange with Kai Havertz would be brilliant, by the way, because even in terms of a knockdown, Trossard can do that kind of explosion into space as well. Trossard can drop into the build up and offer himself as an option to overlap Martinelli as well and deliver some very dangerous crosses. So I think for me in that way, if you're asking to use Havertz in a link up role, if you're asking for that, then Trossard even fits even more in that case. So again, I really want to see a decision being made between Eddie Nketiah and Kai Havertz. I don't want to see us doing this same thing where the left hand side carries three runners.
Right. So the last thing I'm going to say before we get into predictions is I personally think, and I want to hear what both of you think to this as well. I personally think the spacing and discipline in that Fulham low block isn't going to be there to create a sustained amount of pressure to, have something for us to hit our head against. Palinia's disciplinary record speaks for itself. They don't have Tim Ream either. I mean, I just don't think they have the leaders to really marshal that 4-4-2 block, or however they want to play it. Maybe they'll go with a 4-1-4-1, or maybe in a 5-4-1 because they want to keep the spaces short because they don't have the best defender. So it'll be interesting to see how they set up. I mean, what do you guys make of because we mentioned they're going to be sitting in a low block. What do you make of their low block mechanics and how they'll have to cope with what we present?
I just think, like, generally, for probably maybe 10 minutes, they'll be decent, and then they'll just get too aggressive. Like, they don't really do well just sitting in that block. A lot of their players just foul and foul and foul, and they think they can win literally every pass or every duel Paulinho did have the most tackles in the league last season for good reason. But yeah, I just think, and they've got a new centre back partnership which hasn't gelled yet with,
And they've got no Ream.
They haven't
They've
played
got no,
together with
they've got no
Bassi.
Ream as well. So
Yeah, it's going to be Bassi and Diop tomorrow.
yeah.
They've never played together. For me, I just think after 10 minutes, we'll be able to open them up very easily. They'll just open gaps, get too aggressive. And after 1-0, I just think the goals just keep coming because then they will try to score or they'll try to push up the pitch a bit and try to get a goal. And it just, that suits us even more. I think they play like a big team, like a big 16. They don't really play for they wouldn't play for 90 minutes sitting in their own half. They just never really suited to that. Even when they got red cards versus United last season, they just still push up the pitch and push up the pitch. So I just think Fulham, with the red cards and with no Mitrovic, no Willian 1v1, like it's perfect for us really at this stage for some confidence.
George, do you have before we do get into predictions, do you have a 1v1 duel that you think will be important, or and make a two-part question? 1v1 duel you think is important, and a player to watch for the game.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. I think it's the wing back and our wingers. That's going to be where the game is going to be shredded apart. So, Anthony Robinson, Saka, and then, of course, Kenny Tete and Martinelli. Like, I think that, that's where the game's going to be won, and those are the 1v1 battles. I would probably isolate. I think that looking at this game, probably, I think Declan Rice is going to shine again. Somebody that has transition gets picked up. I think that we're going to see another complete 6 performance from him. So, man, the match wise could be Declan, even though I still think that Saka is going to explode in this game. Like, I'm going to go for 3-0. I'll just transition to predictions right away. And I think Saka gets 2. And I think that Mikel won't answer my question about deciding between Kai Havertz and Eddie, and I think Eddie will play, but Eddie will get a goal. It's been bubbling. He's been slowly building himself up, and I think he gets a goal in this game if he starts.
Chris, prediction?
5-0 Arsenal. I think Saka gets a hat-trick. Rice finally gets the goal, and because he could have got it last week, and then Nketiah gets the goal as well. I just think that 1v1 I think Robinson probably gets a yellow 25 minutes in, and then he just can't keep up with Saka for the rest of the 90. So yeah, 5-0, and the left-hand side doesn't look great again.
Weirdly. Right, I'm going with a more conservative 2-0. I don't think they present much opportunity for them to concede. I mean, that's famous last words, obviously, but I think that we'll get 2, probably around each side of the half, and then kind of just relax. I think Mikel wants to drill this idea of in-game management on the pitch, making sure that you can see out games, making sure that we don't concede. I think that's going to be massive for him this game, and I don't think that you can't let these guys get through you. So I'm going for a nice conservative 2-0, and with that, I will let George sound us out.
Thanks, guys, for sticking with us. So that was like a little quick preview. We'll be back with you guys for the review next week, but we hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure before you guys head out, you can smash the like button, hit the bell for notifications to know when, in fact, we do upload. Comment down below if you felt that we missed any 1v1 battles. And, of course, you can find all the boys' socials down below. So at GeorgeV_AFC, Chris at CKFDBL, and Curran at CurranBOP. Of course, we are here, Ball Over Passion, or at BOP Footy on the Twitter. So, guys, thank you so much, and we will catch you guys next week. Peace, guys.
Peace.